All right, this is root words number 7. You have a blue sheet of paper. You should have a blue sheet of paper that is titled root words. It has pictures of these little books and roots on it. Okay, remember, for those of you who have already been in the class, this is a review for those of you who are new to biology, and we do have some new students. Root words is a way for us to look at the origin of different words that we use in biology, and it helps us get to the root of the words. It helps us get to what is the origin, how did these words begin. And when you start to understand the parts that make up a word, then you can encounter new words, you can find new words, and those new words you can understand better based off of the smaller parts that make it up. So I'm going to walk you through 5 root words. We do 5 at a time. Sometimes we do this every couple weeks or so. And you will be having a quiz on this on day 4. Okay, now these are just 5 words. I know you're like, what? We're having a quiz this week? It's just 5 words, and you just need to know what they mean. And if I ask you a question about them, you should be able to answer that. Okay, so you've got more than enough time to kind of get these down. So if you're in F period, Thursday the 4th is when you'll have a quiz on this. And if you're in G period, Friday the 5th, that will be the question, the quiz. I will show the quiz up on the screen when you log in for bell work, okay? So our first word is pat, okay? Pat, what does pat mean? Pat means father, okay? So a couple words that we would use pat in. Okay, perhaps you've heard of a patriarch. Okay, so for instance, you'll write these down on your blue sheet of paper. Okay, if I give you an example, write it down. If you don't know what the definition is, you can write that down too. Okay, if you think about the patriarchs of, for instance, in the Old Testament, you think of like Abraham and how he was a father of many nations. Okay, you might think of a patriot. Okay, so a patriot means you have kind of like a pride of the fatherland. Okay, so it's the origin of the word patriot. I am an expat. What does that mean? I'm American, but I don't live in America. So I am expat. I am out. X means out, and so it's like I'm out of the country that my father grew up in, or my fatherland. I'm not with my fatherland anymore. Okay. Here, papa. Okay, actually does have to do with it. There's not a T in it, but P-A. The P sound just has to do with fathers. Okay. The biological word that you're going to encounter the most is paternal. So if I refer to something as being paternal, that means that you got it from your biological father, or that the offspring got it from the father, something like that. So paternal just means anything biologically related to biological father. Okay, let's go over here to the next one. If we had father, we're going to go with the word that means mother. What word is that? Mut or mat. Okay, mat, maternal. Mat. Okay, so for instance, you might think of maternity. So if someone is pregnant, then she would probably be buying maternity clothes, which means that she's getting clothes that are would fit her during her pregnancy. Okay, or the maternity ward is the section of the hospital where babies are being born. Okay, so that's maternity ward. Opposite of mama, or opposite of papa would be mama. Okay, so MA just has that idea of a mother. And we also see maternal. Okay, so the opposite of paternal is maternal. So if I say maternal DNA, I'm talking about DNA that came from the biological mother. Okay, so I've got paternal and I've got maternal. So those are our first 2 root words. Let's go with this next one. It starts with an F, an E, and an R, and a T. It's Fert. Fert. Okay, what does Fert mean? Well, Fert means producing a lot, or it could just mean fruitful. Okay, so write these down. Fert is producing a lot or fruitful. First one you might think of is fertilizer. Okay, so fertilizer helps plants grow. Okay, you have a fruitful crop. If you apply fertilizer to the soil, that gives them the nutrients that they need to grow. Okay, fertile. Let's put this up here. Fertile is able to have kids. Okay, so if a couple is infertile, for instance, that means that they are not able to have kids. Okay, so a couple who's infertile, they might try to be having kids, but maybe for one reason or another, they're just not able to have them. So it would be infertile. One of the words that we're going to go over a lot is fertilization. Okay. Fertilization is when sperm and egg come together to create a new cell, new offspring. Okay, we call it a zygote, but it's a, you don't need to know that right now. But sperm and egg come together and create, we could say create a baby eventually, right? It's going to grow into a baby. So sperm and egg create, you could write this down if you want to do a first cell that develops into a baby. Okay, so that's fertilization. It's that sperm and egg coming together. That's what fertilization is. You don't need to write down the definitions if you already know them, but do write down just the words themselves, okay? Let's look at this next one. Another important one that we'll be going over is dye or diplo. Okay, diplo parts, okay? So it means a number. What number do you think it is? 2, okay, or twice. Diplo means twice. Di just means 2. Okay. What are some words where we use di or diplo? How about diplomatic? Okay, what does that mean? Diplomatic, it means just like friendly relations between two nations. Okay, so some of you might be diplomat kids, and so maybe your parents are diplomats between 2 different countries so that they can kind of ease the relationship between those 2 nations. Okay, so that would be diplomacy or diplomatic. Okay, dialogue. Ooh, okay, now we know from our first root words that we ever did that log means like word. Okay, a log is a word, a logos is a word. So dia just means 2 words or words between 2 things. And so that is just a conversation between 2 people. Okay, conversation between 2 people. Okay, that's a dialogue. Maybe you've heard of ditheism. What do you think that is? The belief in 2 gods. Okay. Here's the one where we get to some real biological terms. Diploid. Okay, notice diplo in there. Diploid. Diploid means that you have 2 sets of something. Okay. Diploid means that you have 2 sets. For instance, if I look at, I have some coloring pencils right here. So I have 2 sets of coloring pencils. One set was a set that I bought a long time ago. And so they look kind of like this, all right? These are my coloring pencils. They're, what is this? This is Crayola, okay? Then I have a second set of coloring pencils, and they kind of look like this. So they're wooden here, and then they've got, this is a Studio Series set, okay? So I've got 2 sets. So I have a diploid collection of coloring pencils. Okay, I've got the Crayola set and I've got the Studio Series set. They're all kind of mixed up into one thing. Okay, this is where that would be a diploid collection. Now, we talk about this when we talk about DNA because there are 2 sets, your maternal set and your paternal set. We'll talk about that later, but you just need to know diploid for right now. Anytime you see diplo, think 2. All right, Now, the opposite of diplo is haplo. Okay, and this just kind of means one or once, especially once in the sense of when you would expect there to be two. Okay, so if you only have one when you expect there to be two, then that is haplo. Okay, kind of like if I just had one sock, I expect two socks. And so haplo is kind of referring to that idea of I expected two, but I only have one. All right. One word that we use that I'm pretty sure you've probably never heard of this is a haplography. Okay, a haplography is a typo. So see if you can tell what kind of typo it is. A typo is just when you make a mistake when you're typing. So for instance, let's say that I got up and I drank some coffee. Oh no, that's a mistake because I should have two F's. But if I typed in one F, or dazzle, okay, that should have two Z's, but I misspelled it and it only has one. Or balloon, oh, balloon, should notice it corrected me there. So if I type it like that, that's wrong. It's like, whoa, that's not right. Okay, or if I say, oh, I picked up a seashell and I just type it like that, I'm missing an L. So I have one letter instead of two. So that's a haplography. Now, what we use in biology is the word haploid. So if diploid means two sets, what do you think haplo means? Haploid. Haploid means one set. One set. So if I took my colored pencils and I only took out my Studio Series set of pencils, let's take these out, okay? And let's say that I just stuck with these ones, okay? And I didn't take any of the other ones. This would be a haploid set of colored pencils. Now, the instant I collect them with the other Crayola coloring pencils, no, I'm diploid, but I'm haploid here. Okay, we'll talk about this when we get to DNA, and these are important words to know. So those are your root words: pat, father; mat, mother; fert, fruitful; die, diplo twice; haplo once. You need to know those. I will ask you what they are on either Thursday or Friday, depending on what class you are in. You should have those written down in your blue paper. Root words number 7. If you have any questions, let me know.